Hi guys, I'm a mentor Shaurya Goswami. A really warm welcome to the Legal Vibe. Today we are going to discuss the first sample question paper released by the Clat consortium. This sample paper has induced a lot of doubts in the minds of the Clat aspirants that why is there no GK legal or cons and is the paper pattern has been changed. So I just want to clarify that until and unless we don't have an official notification, the paper pattern stands the same. And what I understood by solving this question paper, the sample paper was that the level of the paper was easy to moderate, and it was more like to tell us what kind of questions can we expect from the question paper, the main CLAD exam paper. So in this session, we are going to discuss every question in this sample paper, and we will analyze the difficulty level and what should be the right answers and the explanation to those answers and all of that. Okay, so let's get started. So the first passage is, and first of all, there is no such distinction between RC and CR. Obviously, you can think of it while we go through the passages and read the questions. We can actually figure out which one is RC and CR, but again, they have not given any kind of distinction as of now. So the first passage talks about how natural disasters have been the cause of the end of ancient civilizations like Indus Valley civilization, Babylonian civilization. It also says that now the frequency of these natural calamities have not changed, but because of urbanization and the increase in population, the impact on humans has been increased. That is what it talks about in its essence, and rest we can see in the questions itself. So coming on to the first question, one of the following is the most logical and rational corollary to the above passage. So basically, this passage is asking us to go for an inference. Corollary here means an inference. All right. So when we read the first option, globalization and urbanization are primarily responsible for emerging disasters and crisis situations. So this could not be the answer because there are other uh, causes also mentioned. The rise and fall of various ancient civilizations around the world have been attributed to natural disasters. This is something we actually read there. Developing countries like India should oppose globalization and urbanization. This hasn't been talked about in the passage. Poor countries have a little role to play in the mitigation of disasters and crises, and also this has not been talked about in the passage. So the best answer, the best option possible here is option B, which is the correct answer according to the official answer key. So then we move to the next question. On the basis of the passage, the following assumptions have been made. First, increasing globalization has led to arms race. Second, digitalization has increased manifold the threat of terrorism. Number one was not at all mentioned anywhere. Digitalization has increased manifold the threat of terrorism. This might be assumed. Sustainable development will lead to a better adaptation and mitigation of disaster situations. Yeah, this is also something we can assume, and where can we assume it from is here it is written that the source of terrorism has created this line. When we read, we can assume the first part, and also when we read the other factors and the entire passage, we realize that sustainable development could be a possible solution. Then any option containing one can't be the answer, so A won't be the answer, C won't be the answer, D won't be the answer, hence B will be the answer. The next passage talks about that India wants to reduce fossil fuels and generate more renewable energy to reduce carbon emissions and intensity. This goal is really great, but the author argues that is it possible to just to achieve this goal just with the help of the policy made by government? He suggests that there should be people's intervention too in this, and then only we'll be able to achieve this target. All right. The first part of the second question talks about based on the passage, the following suggestions may be made. The suggestion is the important word here. India, with the help of renewable energy, would be able to control carbon emissions completely by 2070. So, when we read in the passage, the line which was given in the passage, it was India would reduce fossil fuel, generate more renewable energy, with reduce carbon emissions, intensity, and all of that, which is actually different from what is being said here. So, suggestions here we can infer that it is something in which the author suggests, and this was not the author's argument. The author's argument starts from here. So one can't be a suggestion. Government may involve citizens in policy making execution for achieving the target of net zero emission. Yeah, this is something the author talks about that just the government's policies would not make a difference. They need to involve people too, the citizens too. So the answer will be no, not one, not one, two. Option B is the answer. What is the crucial message conveyed by the passage? Okay, in this, it is basically asking about the argument of the author or the main idea, however you want to take it as. Climate change cannot be reversed with commencements of India. No, only no. This doesn't make sense because this is has not been talked about in the passage. Climate change is a global issue, and people across country must change their attitude towards it. This is not something that was being talked about when I told you the argument. The argument didn't include both of these points. Indian government should consult specialized global agencies in the formulation of climate change policy, not given in the passage. Policy framework along with targets should prescribe citizens' behavior, contributing to meeting a net zero emission target by 2070. Yeah, this is what is exactly being discussed in the passage by the author. So the third passage talks about that India has almost double the number of internet users in USA, but we are not able to use that in favor of our market because we don't have enough technologies. While China has been using its population to negotiate with the companies to give the technology and share the technology with the Chinese firms as well. So this is what's given in the passage. Let's come on to the questions. Based on the passage, the following assumptions and suggestions, assumptions as well as suggestions have been made. Indians have a high rate of consumption of electronics. True, because we can see it's given here that also countries' imports are almost 5 times its exports here, and also above it was given there that twice the number of internet users in USA. From there, we can assume that it's given. And second one, India may use a large market size as a bargaining chip for the promotion of its electronics industry. Yeah, it is an assumption because the Chinese example is given with the same assumption that India can also use it. It is the point of giving that Chinese example. So the answer to this question will be C, both 1 and 2. Let's go to the second part of the third question. Which of the following statements best reflects the crux of the passage? Again, the crux is the argument or the main idea, as you want to term it. Union government should trade with USA not only in products but also in services. There is nothing about trading with USA. Domestic companies should invest in human resources to excel the technologies in the electronics. That might be an answer. Despite large user base, India is not able to scale electronics production due to the technological limitations. Yeah, this is what was exactly being discussed in the passage. Big multinational companies should shift passage their manufacturing base from China. No, this was not at all suggested. As we go with the best option, B could have been the answer, but C is the better option, and hence we go with C. The fourth passage talks about social media and the kind of cybercrime that happens, and it also clears that people online can use your information that you yourself put it there and use it for creating false passports and false PAN card and purchasing things in your name and etc. And people, the cyber criminals target the youth because they are immature about their privacy concerns. That is something which is given in the passage. Question 4.1. Based on the passage, the following assumptions have been made. Lack of understanding about privacy among the youth could be a major reason behind cybercrimes. Yeah, it has been made because we can assume it from this line, this line, yeah, and here. Next, misuse of information may happen partially because of the slowly evolving legal provisions. Yeah, we can also assume this because it was given here for new legal challenges for which dedicated laws are yet to be framed. So both can be assumed. Which of the above assumptions are invalid? Invalid, both are valid, then neither one or two. Cool. Then we go to the next question, which is 4.2. What is the most rational inference that can be drawn from the passage? The most important step to controlling cyber crimes is to upgrade the cybersecurity software protocols and algorithms. Not really, because in the last it is mentioned there that though we wrongly end up accusing cybersecurity loopholes in many cases. B. Social media is a prime medium contributing to the misuse of personal information to the youth. Uh, Not really, not really. Mere cybersecurity solutions will not stop the use. Mere cybersecurity solution will not stop the misuse of the personal information online. Yeah, this is something which is given here because again, when we refer to the last line, we can actually infer it from here. And also, as it talks about that we ourselves give out our information, and we the youth generation doesn't understand about the privacy concerns. The overall improvements in cybersecurity should not be limited to present requirements. No. So the best option available here is option C. The fifth passage talks about that corruption in India is kind of rooted, and the agencies, the authorities responsible to limit this are kind of not really interested in that. And also, when they actually go for it, they just focus on the top level corruption happening, while the corruption happening at the below level remains unbothered. That was the argument of the passage. Let's go to question 5.1. Which of the following statements best reflects what the passage implies? Fight against corruption impacts mostly the top level. The ordinary man often continues to suffer. Yeah, this is kind of given in the argument because when we see here, it's given here. A great deal of government which affects the ordinary people is at the retail level, which is not covered. So this seems like an answer. Politicization of institution and the lax attitude of citizens. Citizens is the core reason. Core reason, no. Government must bring immediate reforms in anti-corruption institutions. Not really. It's not that good of an option. Without aware, informed citizens, overcoming corruption is a difficult task that has not been discussed in the passage. Hence, we will go with A, which is the best option available. So the sixth passage talks about how the frequency of floods has been increased in India recently, and there are two measures given to curb that. First, structural measures like dams and reservoirs. Second, are the non-structural measures like proper warning, and the non-structural measures can be actually used to utilize the structural measures in a better way. Let's go to the questions. The question 6.1. With reference to the passage, consider the following statements. In India, flooding is a frequent occurrence. Yeah, this is actually being talked about here. The prompt relocation of individuals is made possible by non-structural flood control techniques. Yeah, this can happen. The first comes from here, and the second comes from here. In the timely evacuation of people and regulate the use of flood-based non-structural methods. So the answer will be C. Coming out of the seventh passage, it tells us about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which aim to ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. And it has 17 goals, which include reducing poverty, etc. And then it has been mentioned that how India's Niti Aayog and the ministries are actually trying to achieve it. Plus, they have given us the data's effect, which are being assessed under the Sustainable Development Goals. Let's go to the questions. Question 7.1. According to the passages of the following are of paramount importance under the SDGs. Eradication of poverty, true. Protecting the planet and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity, true. To bring the world to several life-changing zeros, maybe it's not, because when we come back to the passage, we see that it was adopted and the universal call to action, end to poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. It has been given in the first line itself, but and this shows that it is the most important thing. And this line, the zeros line, is given later, which is basically how these SDGs is designed. So it is different about from the most important goals under the Sustainable Development Goals. Hence, 3 won't be, so it will be 4, both 1 and D, and it is given here. So D will be the answer. Coming on to the next question, 7.2. With reference to the passage, the following assumptions have been made. Development with all and for all. Yeah, it's given there. SDGs is tasked to ensure 100% enrollment of children in schools. No, it's not being talked about in the passage. Niti Aayog to coordinate to SDGs and mapping schemes globally. It's actually given, so we can't assume something which is given. Everyone should be treated equally, and no one should be left out from the benefits outlined by SDG. Yeah. So it was given that the peace and prosperity of all, and from there we can assume that this will be the answer. So 1 and 4 are right, and according to the options, B will be the correct answer here. So coming to the question 7.3, what is the essential message in the passage? Coming on to the 7.3 question, it was what is the essential message in this passage? The main focal point is the all-round development of the rural population. No, not the rural population, not just the rural population. All-round development of the world as a whole in a sustainable manner could be an answer, but again, you see all-round development. This is not something which was actually being discussed. The world as a whole part, poverty eradication and improvement in the MMR. This gets very specific, and this was not the essential message. It was just mentioned there to implement all the goals of SDG in efficient manner in coordination with government of all the member nations. That is something actually being discussed in the passage. When we go to the passage and read that from here, member states including 2015 universal call, and as well as that there are, we can uh, yeah, so we can see it from here, and this was actually the starting of the passage. And this was the main essential idea from the passage. So D will be the answer. Coming on to the eighth passage, it talks about the end of hunger SDG, and this passage is mainly concerned about in its entirety to how to achieve a climate smart agricultural practices. So let's go to the question. That was the argument given in the passage. There was nothing much from this. There is a lot of information, but it all adds up to the argument only. These all are the premises to the argument. Which of the following is the most definitively implied with the passage? The world needs to adopt climate smart agricultural practices to achieve SDG in this changing climate. This is what I mentioned as the argument given in the passage. SDGs are not achieved, not given. Developing countries like India have like no, not given here. Adoption of genetically modified, not talked about here. So A is the best option we have, and hence it is the answer. Coming on to the question 8.2. The passage seems to imply that imply is again inferences. Sustainable agriculture is the need of the hour to protect the genetic diversity of flora and fauna. Yeah, sustainable agriculture is something they've talked about. Countries need to invest more in R&D of climate smart agri products. Yeah, because when we read all of this, that is what we actually get here. It is also correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Hence C is the answer. The ninth passage talks about Green Good Deed, which is a social initiative for environmental awareness. And under this initiative, cleanliness drives are organized in schools, and where they teach the people how to segregate waste into biodegradable and non-biodegradable, recycling and stuff. Basically, the argument here is the campaign requires the people to alter their behavior to green good behavior to fulfill their green social responsibility. This is what the passage sums up to. Actually, I said the entire passage, but alright. So, question 1. Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the passage? Green Good Deed campaign is focused on small positive actions to spread environmental awareness. No, it's basically focused on to alter the behavior to green good behavior, maybe. Beho- sorry. Behavior of the individuals or organizations is essential to make green good deed a success. Not really. It's not. It doesn't talk about this. Green good deed seeks to transform the people's behavior into green good behavior and fulfill green social responsibility. Yeah, this is something which is has been talked about in the last line. Cleanliness drives with the school campus carry out waste segregation to biodegradable. Yeah, it's given there, so it is not actually the. It's a fact. It's not an inference that can be drawn. So B could have been an answer, but if you have a better option, then it's C. The argument in the 10th passage is simple. It's that it's the first line. It said the rise of right-wing populists across the world has destabilized the constitution democracy. That is what the argument here is. And the question is for the author: rise of populist politics. Raises concerns as it endangers democracy. It is given no, no, no. Yeah, A is the answer because it's given is the argument of the passage. The 11th passage talks about that modernizing is something creating exemplary, and it targets the middle class and the high class urban youth in its entirety in the passage, and it tells how the elite people are depressed and lonely, and that's how it shapes. Going to the first passage, the passage is concerned with the urban youth. Yeah, as I told, not just the elite, not just the middle class, not just the girls, the urban youth, because they've mentioned both of them here. Youth in the elite class are lonely and depressed. Yeah, no, no. It's given in the passage directly. Being truly modern means imitating the West. No, it's actually the opposite what's there in the passage. Opting for a dozen girlfriends. No. Accepting dowry in marriage. No. Doing something exemplary. That is what it talks about in the very beginning. That do not write modern is when his thoughts and actions bring out something new. Alright, guys. So this was the explanation for the sample question paper released by Clat Consortium. I would again rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 as 8 because it is actually kind of easy to moderate, and if you focus enough, everything comes directly from the arguments from the passage itself. And also, I also tried that you understood the explanations for the answers given in the official answer key. And also, we are going to make a new video in which we are going to discuss about all the learnings from the sample question paper that we can drive. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please go hit the subscribe button as we bring you quality CLAT content plus the view of law school from the world of Nalsar. Alright, till then, bye bye, see ya.